Hello, we're back for, I think this is episode 4 of using a Jeti to set up a Curare from scratch. This should be the final episode. If you've managed to make it this far, well done. So I thought we'd show some of the things we set up just at the end of episode 3, which was various safety factors. So we'll start the transmitter, and lo and behold, it says check the pre-flight position of the controls, and several of them are flashing. First of all, throttle stick. So we need to move that there. That's happy now. The throttle lock is flashing because the throttle lock is off, so we need to switch that on. This one up here you can just see is flashing. That's my retracts. They're up. I need to switch them down. What's this over here? The rate switch needs to be at medium. I don't want to be taking off in high or low rate. And what's this one here? Snap flap. I don't want to take off with snap flap on. Switch that one on. There we go. Now it's happy. Now, another thing we set up was the automatic check of the main drive battery voltage when you start up the model. So we'll have a look at that first. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it on with a fully charged LiPo and prove that it's quite happy with that. Yep, and on we go. I'll switch the model off and change it to a LiPo.
Signal lost. Signal lost. Signal lost.
Change it to a LiPo that's a little bit discharged. It's below the threshold that we set. Now with any luck this should work. I'm going to switch the model on again. There we go, there's the alarm. And because we set it to repeat, it's just, you know, if you ignore that, well, there we go. So it's alarming away saying you've not fitted a fully charged battery. Lovely. So just for easiest way to clear that out is just change it back
Signal lost.
to
Signal
a
lost.
fully charged battery.
Signal lost. Signal lost. Signal lost. Signal lost. Signal lost. Signal lost. Signal lost.
There we go.
Signal lost.
There, and it's all happy again. Incidentally, for connecting the battery, although this is not a high amperage model, funnily enough, I use Jeti 5.5mm anti-spark connectors, because if you've ever tried connecting up a 6S battery, you know you get quite a lightning bolt as the connectors come together. But with an anti-spark, and what better than a Jeti anti-spark? Fine. I did want to use XT60s, but they don't come with an anti-spark version. You could look at XT90s, and they have an anti-spark version, but it's on they put the anti-spark on the plug that I would fit to the battery, not the one I'd fit to the speed controller, which means you've got to buy an anti-spark for every battery, which is the wrong way around. You just buy one anti-spark and you fit that to the speed controller side. So there we go. But why not fit Jeti? It's good stuff. Okay, enough of the waffle. Let's move on. What's next? Oh, yep, display telemetry. Right, go into here, timer sensors, display telemetry, add system. Yes, I want my antenna data. Use double size. No, because we've only got a single receiver. Add telemetry. I'd like to see the voltage. Double size would give you high and low voltages. Not double size just gives you the current voltage as well as the highs and lows. Sorry. No gives you the current voltage. Yes gives you current voltage, but it also gives you the high and low. So I'll say no, I'm not interested in that. And out of curiosity, it's nice to know the current and the capacity that's been used so far. Say OK to that lot. Let's have a look. There we are. So I've got my antenna data and my voltages. For a fully charged LiPo, that's not doing so well, is it? Okay, anyway, current and capacity there. Right, the other thing I like to know is how well my antennas or things are doing, or what capacity and things are being used. So I've got another movement of the trigger switch. If you remember, if I flick the switch away, it starts reading me my aerobatic sequence. But what I can do is voice output. I'll use the trigger switch, which will be pull the spring switch to me, say OK, and I'll go for data quality, because that's the one I'm always most concerned about when you're flying far away. Ping, say OK, sensor. Funnily enough, it's under system, not telemetry, but there we go. Say OK to that. So now,
Signal 100%.
lovely. And ping it away.
2 inside loops. Momentum. 1 outside loop.
Oh, earlier on when we're setting that switch up, I said, but I didn't demonstrate that a long hold down will reset it, so I'll prove that.
2 inside loops.
There we go, and off it'll go again. So we've done those, we've done set our telemetry. Okay, let's go and get things set up to be able to use the flaps, and I like to do that in flight modes. So we'll create 3 flight modes. We'll come up here and we'll create a takeoff, which is mid-flap. So we'll call it takeoff, you can call it mid-flap, you can call it flight mode 1, whatever you like. Takeoff. Okay, to that. Move the flap switch is actually at the takeoff position, so I'll move it away. I'll give these a delay of a second so that they move a bit gently, and the switch, move to the takeoff position, say OK. Lovely, come down. And we'll call that land. Again, it's just a full flap position. Call it what you like. I'll give that a second delay. And switch is in the mid position. We'll activate the switch, push it to the landing position, say OK. And finally the default, which is our normal fly around mode, I'll give that 1 second delay as well, so that as the flaps come up and everything goes with it, that'll be fine. That's nicely done. Okay, so mid position takeoff is on. Switch down for me is where I like my down flap, so that's my land, and off. So default will be on. Lovely, good. Come to digital trim. I will set the elevator to be separate. This means that in each of those flap conditions, where we've set the separate flight modes, the elevator trim will be separate, and so I can go to things like landing flap and just use the trim buttons to get the aircraft settled the way I want, rather than trying to faff about with mixing. And then we come down to our butterfly flaps menu, and they will be per flight mode, and the control needs to be on. This is the way I do it. There are other ways to do it, but this is the way I like doing it. If you're thinking, what the heck's he doing? I don't understand what's going on. I've got videos all about flight modes and flaps, so look at them and you'll suddenly think, that's what's happening. Ailerons, flaps, adjustments, flaps, and that's right, I've only got one flap servo. Okay, and it's at 0% for every flight mode. So default flight mode for me is flying around. Flaps at 0%, flap is there. That's lovely. Let's go to takeoff flap. So default mode, change to takeoff mode, and I should now be able to adjust. Come on, focus. If I do that, the flap's coming up. So I swing the thing that way, the flap's going down. So I can just turn the control until I get whatever flap I want as takeoff. I'll choose that. Yeah. Come back here. We'll switch now to landing mode. See the controls go back to 0, and I'll just, because my finger managed to switch the camera off and we haven't got the ability to mess about much with these videos. So where were we? Yes, we're setting up the landing flap, so I'll just dial that down. There's 100% travel. Lovely, I'm happy with that. So if I switch the flap switch, which is actually now, it's not the flap switch, it's the mode switch, but the flaps go with it. There we go, take off, and that. And there will be a separate elevator trim for each one. So there we go. There's my flight mode's done. My elevator trim is set. My butterfly flap is done. But interestingly enough, in the instructions, it says also set ailerons up when you're in full flap mode. Okay, let's try that. I haven't used that when in my setup, but let's do it. So default, takeoff. In landing mode, which is the full flap mode, we'll come up here. Symmetry is switched on, that's good. So if I was to do this, my ailerons are coming up. Okie dokie. Landing flap, he wants 13 degrees up. That looks quite horrendous actually. That's more than low rate aileron. I don't fancy the sound of that. I'll set it to 3 degrees up. Okay, and let's have a look at it. We'll look at the other wing. Can we see through the light? Can we focus on that bit? Nah, I'm not sure we're going to see against the light. This one might be better. There's takeoff flap. The aileron doesn't move, but with landing flap, you might see it a little bit better if we look at the tip. So normal flight mode, takeoff flight mode, landing flap. Yep, just a tiny little bit of crow or lift dumping, whatever you fancy to call it. I suppose it also improves a little bit of the tip stall handling capability. So that's that one done. Whoopee, there is only one item left on the list, and it's one of the most important. It is failsafe. So say OK to there. To set your failsafes, you go into Device Explorer, into your receiver, failsafes, yippee-dippee-doo. Failsafe is enabled, that's good. Failsafe delay, 1/2 second. I think the system defaults to 1.5 seconds, but a lot of the models I fly would travel rather a long way in 1.5 seconds, so I like to set it to 1/2 second of no signal or problems before failsafe kicks in. And you got to bear in mind this receiver has been in use for a few years, so it's already set at these. Mode is in failsafe for all of these. You can set them to hold, in which case it stays at the last position. You can set it to off, in which case it sends no data to the servo at all, or you can set it to failsafe. I like to set it to failsafe. Set the failsafe positions now. Okay, I'll put everything where I want it to go in failsafe, which is throttle lock is on. Wheels are down, and basically everything else at neutral. Obviously, where you set your fail-safes is really a matter of personal choice, except for in Britain, and I don't know about other countries, it may be true there as well, but in Britain, it is the law that if your radio system can do fail-safes, then you must set the throttle fail-safe to, idle or off, in order to prevent the model flying away and possibly, climbing up and intruding into the full-size traffic. So at the very least, if you're in Britain, your throttle must be set to close. So there we are. I've set wheels down, throttle locks on. I'll set my fail-safe positions now, apply the changes. Done. And that's it. Sorry about the bump in the middle of this. Just trying to do too many things with one hand. So I hope this video was of some use to you. I hesitate to say enjoyment. They do go on a bit. But and if there's any other models you'd like to see me set up as demonstrations of, how you use the Jeti, it's not a demonstration of how to set up that model or what its travels needs. It's a demonstration of how to use the Jeti to do the way the model should be set up. So if you have any other suggestions and I've got a model that at least approximates to it, I'll be happy to have a go. So bye for now.